Hello, my name is Benjamin Johnson, and once again we are with Humanity First Productions. Our host is Benjamin, which would be me, and our guest for today is Janae, and our topic for today is sexual harassment, not only in the workplace, but sexual harassment period and sexual assault. And we want we want a male's view and we want a female's view, and we are going to have a lively discussion. All right, so how you doing?
I'm well. How are you today? Benji, nice to see you.
Good to see you. Oh, now this is a sensitive topic.
Right.
Very sensitive topic. Right. But I think, even though it's a sensitive topic, I think it's perfect timing for a couple of reasons. One is I have concerns, and there's things about the way people are bringing up women harassment, sexual assault, and the way that they bring it up. And there's two sides to these stories.
Sure.
And what's bothering me the most about it is I understand why people, because they're using this as a narrative now. Mm-hmm. So I actually understand why a person wouldn't just, a person, especially like a younger person who's being harassed, or a person who's being harassed by somebody who has so-called power over top of them. I understand how a person would be hesitant to bring it forth. I really understand how a woman, or even a boy, would be hesitant about bringing something forward.
Sure.
It take years and years to bring something forward, or even just tell anybody, because of the power that the person is feeling at the time that they're being assaulted.
Right.
So I've been hearing a lot of this. Well, why didn't they come out like years ago? And why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? And I've been hearing a lot about that. So my frustration is that if you are in a position in life where something is taken away from you, and like my body, for instance, the only thing in life that I know that I own for a fact is my body.
Right.
If somebody violates that or takes that away from you, you can't even contemplate or even imagine what it feels like to have something, the one and only thing you have in life that belongs to you, taken away from you in any moment, whether it be 2 seconds, whether it be a half an hour, whether it be a day, whether it be a month. It doesn't matter. When somebody forces you and takes the power that you have to control your own body, your own substance, no matter how long it takes to process that, like, who can predict something like that? So that's my frustration.
No, I totally agree. I think that really what it boils down to is like when you have people who have this conversation saying, oh, well, they should have said it 3 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like, I think that that's wrong because you're not in a position where that was done to you. And you don't know what position the actual person who was in position. Like, I just literally read an article this morning about Cardinal Law. Mm-hmm. And, he passed, and it was this whole big deal about how he was, I guess, working with the other priests to hide the sexual abuse that was going on in the archdiocese. And in that situation, here it is that you have someone who's a religious power or statue or whatever, and you have children who are put into a place where they feel that, hey, this is a respected person in my community. This is a person who I'm getting the word, they're telling me about God, they're telling me about repentance, all these things. And then at the same token, the same person is violating these children at gross amounts of areas, and so then you decide, hey, so is that okay? Oh, because they're archdiocese and they're priests, it's okay, but it's not okay for a Harvey Weinstein, right? So some
people. How do you even know?
Yeah.
Like as a child, if your primary caregivers is pointing out to you people that should be
trusted, right?
And then you find out that they can't be trusted. But you're at an age where these people have power over you, and they still instill in you because of the power that they have over you, that they still can be trusted, and you're a child. How do you know the difference?
Right. No, you don't. You don't.
Who do you talk to about this? Your parents are the ones that sent you there so and told you to behave yourself there. Absolutely. They told you to abide yourself there. They told you to respect. So they already told you They already put
that this is a safe place
in place.
Sure,
Yes, that this
sure.
is not only safe, but no matter what, this person is your elder, should be trusted.
Should be trusted.
So
right.
how do you, as a child who's totally confused when something is taken away from you?
Right.
But it's not even. It's not only just confusion. It's also the violation is helplessness,
Yeah.
worthlessness, uselessness, hopelessness. There's other things. You can be so violated by somebody snatching your body away from you, snatching the only thing that you're supposed to have control of, the only thing that belongs to you, and somebody just takes it away from you. How do you process something that is the most important thing in the world taken away from you? How do you process that in a way like, I'm going to go tell this person or that person or this person? And now check this out. This is what I was thinking about the other day. I was thinking about like society itself. You know the 12, 14 women who accused Donald Trump or whatever, and then you had the other woman that accused this guy Franken or something, and then you had the other women that accused. The real reason why women don't come forth with that is because you had this guy Moore, I think he's from Alabama, flat out said these people are lying. And then you have a segment of society that believes it.
Well, yeah, but you know what, so along those lines, Ben, I'm sorry to cut you off. I really think that it goes down to conditioning. Because I think that society is so conditioned, especially women, are conditioned in such a way that it allows them to not put their whatever it is that they have to the forefront. So you have men who are saying, okay, let me abuse my power, let me, and not to say that women don't do it too, but I'm just saying in these instances, you have men who are of influence, who are of power. We have a male-dominated patriarchal society.
Right.
So if men say it, so it's so, right? I mean, at some point in time, right, there used to be laws on the books that allowed for men to be able to literally rape their wives, because women were considered the property or are considered the property of men, right? So you go from your dad to your husband, and it's just like this whole progression of you going from one person to, because of course women can't take care of themselves, right? Women aren't important enough to be able to control themselves, but you got to have men to tell you, hey, you can move like this, you can move like that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So when you have a society that just really continues to perpetuate this male-dominated power of society, how the hell can women come forward talking about someone's doing something, especially like say if it's like your boss, right? If you're, say you happen to be a woman who's like a single mom, right? You need your job, right? So now you're making all these moves to say that your boss is doing whatever that he may be doing to you, right? And it might be falling on deaf ears. And you just really might not have the voice like the people who are in Hollywood to say, hey, guess what? So-and-so was doing this, so-and-so was doing that. You might not have that voice.
And in most cases, women don't.
They don't. I mean, everyone isn't a celebrity. Everyone doesn't have lawyers and all this money backing them up and everything. I mean, it doesn't just happen to politicians and to rich people. And so it's like this nastiness happens in all segments of society.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting.
One thing, there's two things. One is, I was working in a prison in Delaware.
Sure.
All right. And I did not know this, but you hear about rape and things of that nature, but you just don't know exactly what's going on. However, I'm working in this prison, and the population is a population of about 70 people. It's a 90-day program.
Okay.
All right. So it's co-ed. So it's about 35 women, about 45 men, about 40 men, vice versa around in here, but there was always a little more males than it was women. But anyway, making a long story short, I'm working with females.
Okay.
And I dig this here. These females is in the prison. This is a work release center.
Okay.
They're in a 90-day behavior modification program, and I'm one of the primary counselors.
Sure.
Every single woman that I had to counsel in this prison was raped.
Wow.
Every one of them. So I'm talking about at least anywhere from a 95 to a 99% of the women that I counseled that was in this prison was raped. When I read that and found that out, and when I talked to these people, I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that there was uncles, brothers, and fathers, and cousins, and friends of family raping these women from the age of 5, 6, 7.
Why can't you?
But you know why? Because I've never been a part of it, and I never really seen it.
Right.
But it was, okay, the rape itself wasn't shocking, the amount,
Oh, yeah.
95%.
Women are not
Just
valued.
about every single woman that I counseled in there was molested. Was raped.
Women are not valued. You have a society that treats women like we're the victims, like we're the underdogs, like it's our fault that men are not able to control their sexual urges. It's my fault that men aren't able to say, hey, guess what? I need a little control. You know, it's women's fault. It's always women's fault.
It's amazing. Now there's two things. One is, if you look at it, to let you know just how disgusting it actually really is, is that if you did surveys or if you did statistics on institutions, like say the institution of higher learning.
Sure, I have something for you for that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
For women in higher learning on campuses, it's very unsafe sexually.
It's very unsafe.
It's very unsafe. Now here's another one, because they talk about this a lot. And I'm not knocking the military, but I'm not bolstering the military, whatever, wars, whatever. I don't really believe in war, but I'm going to say what I got to say. I did a survey of statistics on the same thing, women assault and sexual assault in the military.
Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. There was somebody on a survey said that a rapist or a guy who sexually assaulted women, the best place for them is to go to the military.
Of course. Of course. Who keeps women safe in the military?
But that is shocking.
Whoa.
This is the same place that they hold this banner up to. They hold this bright light up to. This is the honorable, the brave, and the courage. How can you place honor, brave, and courage in the same situation where there's molestation and rape and sexual assault? Like, how does that fit in that?
It doesn't fit in, but you have to think, again, we go back to a society who applauds this type of behavior for men. They applaud the masculine.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? They applaud it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Being masculine is where it's at, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you have
there's
men,
a point to that.
It's a point. Men are always very masochist, and they're just like, oh, go be a man, go be a man. And a lot of men, unfortunately, have the thought process that being a man is overpowering and or taking something that does not belong to them. I mean, think about when it boils down to the war, rape and war, right?
Yes.
Like the correlation between rape and war, and why it's such a difficult situation, right? Why is it a difficult deal when you have, you know, people who say that women shouldn't be in war, right? Yeah. Women shouldn't be in war. It shouldn't be women fighting on the battle lines, right? But the only reason why they say that women shouldn't be fighting on the battle lines, because said man can't control his urges when he's out in the field. How could you possibly be thinking about overpowering and raping somebody when someone's shooting at you?
But that's what pillaging is.
But that's what it is.
That's been a part of war.
That's for years, right? Like you can
rape the women in the village.
Of that country, so that you can't. And
rape the women.
But think about it. I mean, it's like this whole society. It goes back to slavery, right?
Oof.
Because it goes back to slavery. Were these same people
were savages? Were supposed to be savages, supposed to be animals,
right?
But they was getting screwed.
Were these the same people who were not talking about, you know what? Black men aren't able to protect their black women. It was systemic that they were going around raping black women in front of black men. And that same type of ideal is over in Afghanistan. It's over in Vietnam. It's wherever war is. Any war-torn country, that is what happens
with the women.
That's what happens with the women.
This is for centuries.
For centuries. It didn't just start. And then you go back to when it goes to, like the military, when we're talking about the Department of Justice, literally has laws and books and pamphlets and all of these things telling men how to not sexually assault or molest someone. Are you serious?
Well,
like who
you don't know that that's wrong.
You don't know?
That body does not belong to you.
That doesn't belong to you, but yeah, guess what, right?
I'm going to take it anyway. And these are places of higher learning. There's one thing I was...
I have one other thing. If you look on Netflix, there is a documentary that's called The Hunting Ground.
Really?
It's called The Hunting Ground. This documentary is talking about the great lengths that higher institutions go through to cover up sexual assault and rape. So check it out.
That's disgusting. There was a guy who said, I don't know who said this, they said that you can always tell the climate of society
Yeah.
as to how the society treats women and
Absolutely,
children.
absolutely.
Take a look at that, America.
Absolutely.
Because how are we treating children and
Sure.
women in this country?
Sure. They're not valued.
You know, there's not a value to it. But I want to talk about the man thing because I am a male.
Sure.
And I am a man and I'm heterosexual. However, and I think that's a big deal. But however, I've experienced being violated
Sure.
when I was like 13 years old.
Right.
By a homosexual, but I want to preference what I'm saying is it wasn't because this person was a homosexual
Right.
who violated me. It was because this person was a pervert.
Yep, absolutely.
And he was an older pervert.
Absolutely.
And he was disgusting.
Absolutely.
But see, here's the thing, because the reason why I want to bring this up is because I was 13 years old at the time, and this was a grown man.
Sure.
He found himself giving me a blowjob in the middle of the night.
Right.
And I was so confused and so messed up in the head and didn't really know what sexual activity was.
Sure.
And this was like one of my first introductions to it, so it completely confused me. Now, there's two things that came out of that. One is I was so embarrassed.
Right.
This was in a hotel in upstate New York, and I was a busboy. I was so embarrassed that, one, I never told anybody.
Right.
But you have to understand what I'm saying. When I say I never told anybody, I mean I actually never told anybody.
Right. Right.
And I'm talking about I went through my whole life
Right,
and told
right.
anybody. And I'm a recovering addict. And the first person that I ever told, this is when I was 13, the first person I ever told this to, I was 32 years old.
Wow.
And I told it to my sponsor,
Wow.
they call him like mentor,
Sure.
when I was in the NA program, the Narcotics Anonymous
Right,
program. That's
right.
the first person I ever told.
Wow.
So on television,
So why is that though, Ben? Right?
because it's
Right?
too embarrassing, too shameful, and it's something that belonged to me that was taken away. And another thing is, it shaped my life.
Wow. Right. Right. Right.
I was so tainted by that, right? And the taint and the confusion did not have anything to do with the desire I had for women or the appetite I had for women.
Right.
But how it did shape me was I no longer had any type of innocence connected to sexual activity.
Sure.
So in other words,
Right,
I
right,
would
right.
not fall in love with a woman because of sex.
Sure.
Because as far as sex was concerned, that was dirty.
Just act.
That was
Sure.
wrong. That
Sure.
was physical, it was
Gotcha.
act, and you can have it with anybody.
Gotcha.
And it didn't mean nothing
Right,
after that. So I've never developed a relationship after that. So that's what tore that part up. But this is the point I'm trying to make here. If I didn't tell anybody that until I was 32 years old, it happened when I was 13. Isn't that kind of normal for people who are violated not to just run around telling me? So when they get on television and this guy says, well, why did they wait 40 years? Why do you think a person waits 40 years? You let somebody take something from you that belongs to you, that you own, and you can't do nothing about it at all. That type of violation can go in the depths of a human being's conscience, can go in the depths of your spirit, can go in the depths of your self-worth. And you would never be able to find that depth yourself. I needed help in order for me
Like, think
to
of how
be
many
honest
people who
enough.
don't have therapy.
That's what I'm saying. Right. I had to get sober. I had to get clean.
Yeah.
I had to go to AA and NA meetings
Yeah.
just for me. And you know what? I didn't want to tell my sponsor. I talked in meetings and told people every single little cruddy, little dirty thing I did. But you know what? When I got ready to do a false step, the one thing that I couldn't come to telling anybody was that thing there.
Wow.
It broke my heart to tell my sponsor that. And he knew everything else about me. But just to bring that up to another man almost killed me.
But think about it. So you're telling us that your self-worth was like seriously shattered, you know what I'm saying, based on that incident. So think about how, and not just women, because like I said, I don't want it to be, sexual assault is just not for women, you know what I'm saying, like sexual assault happens to everybody.
It's a violation, of everything. Everything you are.
So you think about it, so say if you grow up in a culture where as a woman, right, it is important for you to still be a virgin or whatever, right? And what an event that you have maybe been sexually assaulted or raped or something like that, right? So now, here you are, you can't tell anyone because you're like, whoa, okay, hey, I still need to be married or I still need to be, whatever your cultural beliefs are, right? But you just think about how it can like really, truly and honestly affect you. How many people have turned to substances? How many people have committed suicide?
Prison.
Right, how many people continue that ugly cycle. You know what I mean? Like that is it's disgusting.
I'm gonna tell you something. Society don't know this. You know what I mean? I don't know. Society really don't talk about this because society is pretty disgusting.
Right.
And I'm gonna say that. And men
Sure.
are wretched creatures. And I'm a man, and I know because I was a wretched creature. I abuse women in different ways. I was a womanizer.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I ran around as a stone cold womanizer. I would never be faithful and always cheated. And and one of the things, and one of the reasons why I lived the way I lived, because it was not only condoned, it was encouraged in some of the circles that I was in as being a man. That was encouraged.
Right.
If you can get the beautiful girl, if you get another beautiful girl, if you get another beautiful girl, all of that stuff, man, was kudos according to what culture that I'm in. And when I say culture, I don't mean African American or Caucasian culture. I don't mean the culture like that. I mean the culture of men.
Right.
The culture of males.
Sure.
You know, they do. When they came up with that show, The Bachelor.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you talk about slimy.
That's slimy. Right?
You have one dude on television, right?
Going after all,
what 26?
Right.
I don't know how many women
that
that he chooses from,
right.
and they like little slaves.
Right.
And this guy can get to screw
all of them.
All of them, if they was willing to give it up.
Right.
And there's nothing in society, but yet society and the congressman and the Trump and all these people, they want to come out and act like there's something wrong with something that they perpetuate.
Right.
On television, commercials, car sales, advertisement.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
The biggest industry in America, period, is porn.
Right.
So,
Good point.
right now, you know, because I think this has a lot to do with it. If any type of cop show that you see, this is not about police, but any type of cop show that you see, or drama that you see, or has anything to do with drug addiction, or has anything with busting drug addicts, you ever notice that these days on television, that when they go looking for criminals or looking for leads, they always end up in strip clubs? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did the strip clubs.
Watch the movies. Watch the movies. They always end up even in comedies.
You like what?
They all end up in strip clubs and smoking marijuana. But they all end up exactly. So they have this thing like, I was actually growing up, I was actually praised for the ability to get more than one woman.
Oh, wow.
That was kudos. When I was growing up, it was like, that's a slick dude right there.
Right.
No, it wasn't like that. And you know you got respect for him. But here's the serious part of it. This is weird what I'm about to say, but in a way, even the females respected the fact that you can get other females.
Right, because we're conditioned to do it. Like, think about how many women settle for a piece of man who is willing to just quote unquote be there. You know, like, oh, he comes around on Monday and Tuesday, sometimes Friday, maybe Saturday if I'm lucky. Some women will break their necks to be bothered with something like that, versus them saying that, no, I want a man who's going to respect me. I want a man who's going to treat me as if I have some substance and I have work. I want a man that's going to treat me like the queen that I am, right? So if you have women who have like these ridiculous substandards for what it is that they're willing to deal with,
I want the ones that like the bad boys.
Yeah, don't even start with dust. Oh my goodness, right? Like when did, because we was just talking about this, when did someone who receives money by illegal means become applauded and or celebrated versus a man that goes to work every day, takes care of his family, is a decent husband, is a decent provider, is a decent dad? When did that man not become like the be-all, end-all person to celebrate? When did we get to a society where we want a person who calls women bitches? Like, I wish somebody would. Like, and I know, of course, that's so not on the topic, but I wish somebody would be calling me a bitch talking about, I'm with you. What are you saying?
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Now, because I'm older, I don't remember ever calling a female a bitch to their face.
Well, you should not.
Well, behind their back.
That's different. That's different.
You know,
right.
But I don't remember ever, like, you know, getting and calling you a bitch. I don't remember ever doing that because there was too much respect for my mother.
Right.
You know, but the one thing is, people who are raped, whether it's women or men, but I want to stick to the women. People who men prey on because they have power. women who they use. When men take women to court and turn victims into the criminals.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of reason why women don't go forward.
Right.
Because they don't want to become a criminal because of something you did.
Right.
And that's what they do.
That is
Men
what they
turn
do.
it all the way around, and next thing you know,
shame.
they are the victim shame, and it's even worse than that. They actually accuse them of being slimy. They accuse them of being liars. They accuse them of being, and let me tell you something. There's women who do dumb shit, and
agree.
And there's women who accuse men. There's there's nothing that a woman scorns.
Sure.
There's a
but that's not the majority of
I was just about to say, there's a rare breed of women that may be out there who does crazy nonsense like that. But let me tell you something, man. I'll be damned if you're gonna find 12 women who don't know each other say the same thing about one dude and don't be true.
And it's not true.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. What woman would actually say, okay, let me go open up and tell the public about something that happened to me 40 years ago? Now, first of all, this woman,
when I
30
have
years
nothing
ago,
to gain.
when I have nothing to gain except for scorn. What's going to happen, and you know what's going to happen, is that this person must have been hurting, and this thing must have been eating at him, and this person must have woke up and realized that the damage that was done when they was 13, 16, 17 years old has actually played a significant impact in their life now. So they're 35 years old, and they say, listen, this happened to me. Maybe it's because they just couldn't take it no more, and they had to just tell somebody. And maybe they don't even give a damn what happens to this person over here. They just give a damn what happens to their soul. They just want to feel good about themselves. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, Bitchy. Why should I care? Right?
You wouldn't care anymore.
Why should I care that Weinstein got fired? Why should I care?
That happens to these people.
Why should I care? That's not my burden. That's not my burden. Why should I care that what's the guy, Matt Lauer's wife left him? Why should I don't care. I don't care that he lost his job.
Or any of that. Why would you? Why should you?
Why should a victim care about what happens to the person that is hurting them?
And not only that, exactly.
Why should I care?
And why should I care what happens to you by me telling the truth?
I don't.
Are you crazy?
I don't care.
Why would that bother me?
I don't care.
My job at a certain point in time in my life when I muster up enough strength, enough courage. Just like me talking about being molested when I was young. I had to muster up enough courage, and for me to say it on camera, I had to muster up enough courage, enough guts, enough whatever I have in me, man, to say, okay, listen, that does not define who I am. So I can say that because that doesn't define who I am. I know who I am, so I can say that. What I can say is that a pervert took advantage of me.
But everybody doesn't have the courage to do that, right?
Well, I didn't until I had an open mind to do it, until I had a program and people that supported me. So maybe these people who came out 20 years later found a support network. Maybe they found the courage. Maybe they found the avenue which to go. Maybe they came out, man, because these other women came out and they felt from their courage transferred to their courage, and they say, listen, I can talk about this now. But for you slimy ass hypothetical people that come out and say, I would have came out when I was younger, and why wouldn't a person come out when they were so and so? Screw you. You saying that nonsense, you have no idea. But the only way you know that is if your body, if your mind, if everything about you was taken away from you. Then you'll know. But that hypothetical stuff talking about I would have did this and I would have did that, you're full of crap. You don't know what you would have did what you would have did if you're caught in a situation, man, and which is catastrophic.
You're right. And then depending on who it is, right? Because what if it's your father, right?
What who you gonna tell?
Who you telling? Your mom?
What if it's your uncle? Who are you gonna tell? Your big brother? Who? Your cousin? Your nephew? Or what if your teacher was doing it? Or if you were male, what if your babysitter was doing that to you? Who are you going to tell? And you're a child. A teenager. Listen, a teenager. Is still a child until a teenager becomes an adult.
Absolutely.
Now, the older you get, the more knowledge you get, the more strength you get, the more courage you get, man. But between ages of 5 and 14, you're in trouble.
But even adults, I mean, think about it. I don't think that it is age specific.
No, you're right.
I think that it can be anyone. Like if anyone who has that type of violation, that type of...
You know who I want to talk about? That guy, Terry Crews.
Yeah.
This man is built like
he's huge, right?
crash, boom, bam.
Right.
This dude is like a monster. He told me that. He said when I got on news, I don't even know if I would have did it. He got on news and said this dude grabbed him by his crotch twice.
Absolutely.
Now, people were saying, well, being politically correct, you know what I mean, you don't want to blow your chances or contract, and you don't want to go to jail. Listen, his response, honestly, Terry, and your wife should not have told you not to do it, but your response should have been grab, pow! He should have went flying across the room. And then you say, listen, and I'm going to tell you why you should have knocked him across the room. Because when he touched you in your private spot, right then and there, that was not only a violation.
That's assault.
That was an assault. It's called a sexual assault. You and I have the right to defend myself against any type of assault.
You're right.
So if you assault me, my first instinct is to make sure you don't do it again and make sure you're not capable of doing it again. He should have backhanded him across the floor right then and there and knocked him out. Period. Because he assaulted you, dude. He assaulted you.
But think about the context that you're saying that his wife told him not to do, not to.
She said, calm down. No, you ain't gonna emasculate me.
But
he's getting knocked out.
But I don't know if it's an emasculation. I'm thinking of it in terms of, so are black people that hard up for roles in Hollywood? You see that I'm willing to allow someone to violate me?
Like, public too. Like he had no respect for you.
No, he had no respect for you.
And then did it twice, and your wife was there. But just think about a person walking up to you and saying, listen,
I don't know any men that do that.
I own you. You can't do nothing about it. I'm going to touch you where I want to touch you. And I don't even give a damn if that body belongs to you.
How is that not slavery?
I'm going to touch you anyway. That's just like slavery. That's just like slavery.
That's just like slavery. It's the equivalent
of modern day.
Modern day of you not having the ability to control you and your own person.
Yeah.
So somebody else has the...
You violate me.
Guess what? This is not the industry for you. This is the industry for you.
As soon as you violate me, I don't need control.
I don't.
You know why I don't need control? Because you didn't exercise your control.
You didn't.
So if you don't exercise your control with me, why would I exercise my...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not... Well, let me tell you, I'm going to put it like this. I'm not going to exercise my control.
The only thing that one should be thinking about would be me not hurting you to the point where I'm going to get some jail time.
Exactly.
Other than that, I'm not really sure.
I'm
not really sure what we're doing here.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
See, because I'm going to tell you something. The reason why he got to do it twice is because what you didn't do the first time.
Because what you didn't do the first time.
How?
Because what you didn't do the first time.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
because if he just and you don't, you know what I mean? You don't stomp him.
Right.
Bitch slap him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? Right. He wouldn't have did it again. And then if anybody said, what the hell did he slap him across the floor for? Because he grabbed my dick. And you say it like that.
That's it.
You just said, yo, this dude just grabbed my dick. That's why he's on the floor.
Right. Because
does anybody else want to grab it? Because if anybody, see, it is. But here's the thing: you empower women.
Yeah.
You empower kids. You empower. That's how you say, don't nobody touch you without your permission. That's how you say it. You don't say it softly. I want to talk about this and that. No. You get violated, you make sure that they do not violate you again.
Yep.
Period. You empower people to say, and then you let them perverts know that they getting the shit knocked out of them if they touch people that they ain't supposed to.
And start making examples of these people.
Women should always have those
mace.
Oh yeah, they should always have
mace and tasers and everything else.
And never take a drink out of a man's hand. Don't let them buy you a drink. Buy your own drink, chick, and keep it with you. Don't let nobody buy you nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. We've been living in this country for years. You as women, you already know that men are slimy. You already know that men are creatures. Okay.
Yeah. So why would you? Yeah.
So don't you have to put your antennas up, man? You know what I mean, and kind of lower these expectations.
You do.
I mean, like, come on.
You do.
I mean, this has just been going on for ages.
Yes, sure.
Now, women got the time right now where they can speak up for themselves. So not only speak up for yourself, there's preventative methods. Methods that you should take. Also, there's preventative measures that you should take. Like you know certain men, and
you already know.
Here's the thing. You're a woman, Jeanette. I know you can kind of tell.
You know the creeps.
The creepy type people by the way they talk and the way they touch you and they got that slimy thing.
But you know what though, man? surprisingly, it's not always creeps, right? Because like your uncle's not a creep.
Well, that's true.
Like your,
that's true.
It might be,
that's
it might be a creep, but I don't know. But but it's not always creeps.
There's always kind of signs, though.
It is a sign.
But
I also think that I don't know, because I'm thinking from a woman's standpoint. I think that as a woman, regardless of your age, it is important, especially with young girls, to teach women to have power over their bodies, right?
Yes.
I don't think that that's a discourse that really happens too often. I think that so many conversations when it comes to sex, especially when it comes to girls, comes around not getting pregnant, right? Not being a hoe, so to say. That's, you know what I mean? Like colloquialism.
Today, you know what I
mean? What you say on that? But women aren't taught to be whoever they want to be sexually, to own their sexuality, to be, you know, so we have so many...
To have confidence in their
sexuality. Like the United States,
you know that they are in control and the dudes ain't in control. I've always wanted to say that.
The United States has so much, like, violence around sex.
Yes.
Because the United States also pushes their so-called white Christian agenda, right? And this so-called white Christian agenda is also the same folks who at the white Christian agenda are raping and killing and pilgrimaging people. So naturally, you will have a society who doesn't respect women, regardless of the color. You can't not.
See, you know what you're saying? You know what you're saying? What you're saying is humanity is humanity.
Right.
And just because of what you say, because you say a person is a savage, does not make that person not human.
Right.
Just because you say that person is black, or that person is Mexican,
doesn't mean anything.
Or that person is Hispanic, that person is still human. We are human beings, and we never not are human beings.
And so you have people.
That's a good point.
It's like an ingrained thing in society. Like say if you go to other cultures, you know what I'm saying? Like for example, Amsterdam, right? They have like an entire red light district. Like sex is not a taboo, and the United States, sex is such a taboo. Ooh,
yeah, but everybody's doing it, and everybody's raping, and everybody's doing it.
That's what I'm saying. The problem here is that the United States is so focused on censorship, right? Oh, we can't do this. We don't want to show this. We don't want to do this.
Save your face. Oh, it's disgusting.
If porn and prostitution and all the things that are going to keep going on would at least have some type of legal backing behind them. Not even legal, because I don't trust the legal system. But I'm just saying if prostitutes weren't necessarily out on the corners, right? Mm-hmm. And they were in places where, there are health checks and and they did it where, like other countries,
regulations control.
Exactly. I feel
let people be people.
Right. I feel like these men who, for whatever reason, right, feel
for the most part, like when they talk about that, here's the thing. When they talk about like them congressmen and senators and all stuff like that, now you're in the priests and you're talking about people in positions. Now these people, this is just all power.
This is all power.
That's all power. I don't even know if they can even get it up. These fools, man, just want to be able to control women because they know that they're not controlling themselves. You know what I mean? And they know pride is kept. They know pride is kept, man. That women, that they are always going to be more desperate for women. Now these type of men.
Sure.
They know that throughout their life they are always. Listen to me closely here, fam. People out there in America. These men know that women, the Trumps and all these funny looking dudes with the money, they know that women is always going to be in a better position than them without their power to choose who they want. And guess who they won't choose?
Yeah, those jerks.
They won't choose those jerks. Yeah. And they know that. Yeah. And they know that the women have all the power. Right. And that's why they use their power in a disgusting way to take away their power in which they know have power over them. Sure. Because actually, they don't want them bums. Them old nasty, slimy, perverted.
Like sex is very powerful, right? Like sex is a very
You seen the way that dude Reinstein look?
Yeah,
What woman is knocking down their door to get in his drawers? Let's be honest here. You know what I'm saying? And it may not even be his looks. His personality. They said he was a bully.
Sure. Right. It's not even nice.
Right. He's not even a nice person.
Right.
On top of being whatever the way he looked. And you see them other little funny looking and the dudes, man, that was online with the little girls and all stuff like that. You ever take a look at these people? These people here, man, are so insecure within themselves. These men, they are so insecure within themselves that every time they see a beautiful woman, they feel like she's in control.
Right.
They feel the fact that she don't want me. She's in control.
Right.
She's not going to do that. She would never want me. I would never be able to get anybody like that. And what they do? They go out and get that power, and they use that power to do what? To be disgusting. This guy says this guy here ended up being a president and talked about walking into beauty pageants, in the back beauty pageants rooms, because he owned it. Why would he invest in? Now listen, why would he invest in a beauty pageant so you can go creep around them? How disgusting is that? He's the president. Yo, this dude invested in a beauty pageant so he can go back door with a beauty pageant so he can be, oh God, how slimy is that? Oh, that's disgusting. Come on, dude.
I don't know. Me.
And then now this is where the women get stuck at, not being able to come forth.
Sure.
Because creeps like that can go right back around and actually admit to doing that nasty, creepy crap and go around and say, no, it's the women. And then you have the whole country that takes and put this slime ball in office. Yeah. So now every woman in America is going like,
oh, okay.
These dudes can get away with anything. Right. So why would a woman step up and come forth? Yeah. You know what I mean? When if you're married to a policeman, or if you get raped by one, or if you get raped by a sergeant, or a lieutenant in the army, or if you get raped or molested by a professor, or if you get raped by a CEO, nothing's going to happen. Right. So why would a woman come forth? And why wouldn't a 13, 14, 15-year-old woman that's been stalked by a 34-year-old DA come forth? Why would they? Would you? And don't lie. No, you wouldn't. Because that's the fear of the power. And I'm going to tell you, so that condition started, like you said, from slavery all the way up here, taking people's bodies away from them, controlling other people's bodies. It's a part of the American conditional system.
Right. And don't get it twisted.
And I know.
Right, don't get it twisted. Like you said, because I don't want people to just get the vibe that, oh, it's just because it's slavery. No, it's not that. Really what it's boiling down to is that it's not the slavery that causes, you know, this whole deal of taking of other people. It is the people who started this country. You have laws to govern that it's okay to violate people.
That's right.
It's okay to violate
women.
You have loopholes in the laws that you made to make it okay.
That's right. Okay. That allows men to do it in the military, higher learning, that allows men to do it in corporations, on jobs, that allows men to do it in the forces. You have actual laws that set in place for men.
Yep. Because the laws
to take shit away from women.
Because the laws are only made to oppress.
To oppress women. There's laws for that.
There's laws for that.
For them to get out of oppressing women.
Right.
And get out of oppressing other cultures. There's laws for that here.
There's laws on the books for that. Like if you think about it, you know what I mean? Women are treated very similar to, and not always, but very similar to how children, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They need someone to lead them.
Yes.
They need someone to show them. Women got it. They don't need it.
And meanwhile, precious, loving, strong, intellectual, smart. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I don't care who watches this. I trust women, and I trust the intellect of women, and I trust the soul of women. Matter of fact, it's not even close, because I really don't even trust men. And I'm a dude. I can't, I think men, honestly, are wretched creatures. And I'm one of them, and I don't think they shit. Yeah. No. They start wars. If they're not starting wars, they're raping people. If they're not raping people, they're stealing from somebody. Look at all they bullying people. Right. I don't think men are shit, to be honest with you.
Right.
No homo. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. Take that back.
We do, man.
But the truth is, listen, I'm a man, and I'm going to tell you the reason why I don't trust men is because I'm a man.
Yeah.
I know how I was taught.
Sure.
I know how I was conditioned. See, instead of these dudes coming out and saying, listen, yes, I did so and so when I was that age. I was conditioned and taught
Right.
to be that way.
Right.
To tell you the truth, man, that always made me feel like a man, and it made me feel like special, and it was 100% wrong.
Right.
So I can just come out and say, yeah, I was a piece of shit. I wasn't a good guy. I didn't respect women.
Do you know what type of courage that takes for a man to do that? Men
Well, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I was terrible growing up when it came down
Yeah,
to
but you
women.
wasn't sexually assaulting and raping people either.
Well, I wouldn't do that.
You wasn't doing that either. So,
Well, I didn't have to, but no,
You know what I mean?
I don't do that. But you know, but listen,
but that's true.
I had bouts of domestic violence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was sneaky.
Right.
I did lie. I was unfaithful. So no, I wasn't a good boy. And I was strung out on drugs, but that wasn't the excuse while I was doing what I was doing with women, because I've always thought about women as sexual objects, especially after I was molested. Then they wasn't nothing but sexual objects.
Right.
And I use them for that, but women comforted me.
Yep.
Now, women is the most beautiful creatures on this earth. They are magnificent, and I've always thought about that, and I've always said that, and I've always looked at women and saying, like, this is magnificent to touch, to hold, just being around is the greatest thing in the world. So I always knew that, but I just couldn't contain the fact that I had to use my so-called male dominance in order for me to capture this majestic, beautiful
but then it
person.
Goes,
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, and so that goes back down to educating our children, right? Because I think that when you have slime balls and jerks as men or whatever, these are also slime balls and jerks as children, right? So these same young men or boys or whatever, they were taught this, and so this sometimes it manifests in great ways. Sometimes it manifests in like his ugly head of being assaulted. But most men are conditioned to think that they have power over women, and so if you have this continuous conditioning, it takes for people like us to say, you know, if you have a son or people who have children in their lives or
just
people who are around it, like, hey, little boy, let me tell you something, sucker. Let me tell you how this go right
this
here.
This is the way.
Right. I mean, I don't. Right.
This is the way I was raised, but you don't have to do this. This is not important. This is not manly. This is not a man thing to do.
And that comes from women taking, not just women, I'm not going to do that, because it takes two people to raise a child, whoever the parents are. If it's same-sex parents or if it's different sex parents, it doesn't matter. Whoever is the parent of said child, right? Of what said male child, whoever it is, it's their responsibility to teach that, no, this is not how we treat women, this is not how we talk to women, this is not, we're not listening to music that is steady, demeaning, and derogatory towards women, because unfortunately, most people, and like I said, I don't like to generalize, but most people aren't able to decipher that the songs that are totally degrading to women, that shit's not reality. You don't talk to women like that.
Right.
You shouldn't talk to women like that. You should not be. You should not treat women a particular way if they choose to cover their bodies, if they choose to have modesty. Wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? Or if you have a female who happens to decide to want to be a little bit more revealing or risque, that does not make them any type of sexual object. That means that that's what they want to do. And so you have to condition your little boys. You got to teach them, and same thing with little girls. Like everyone, you have to teach children that it is important, right? It is so important to treat people the way you want to be treated. If you don't want anybody bullying you, don't you bully anybody. If you don't want anybody assaulting you, don't assault. Just rule of thumb. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
And understand that sex in any form or fashion, sex is a part of life. It's not life itself.
Sure.
It's just a part.
It's just a part.
And it's not even a huge part. It's a physical part, man. You have your emotions, you got your spirit, you got your mind, you got your ambition. There's all other parts of life. But I would like to say this right here before we conclude. We're not talking, and when I talk specifically about men, I am not, just to make this clear, I am not talking about every single
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
earth.
not. No.
That's not what I'm doing.
No.
Yes, it sounds like I'm bashing the living hell out of men. And the reason why I'm doing it is because the magnitude of crap that they're getting away with. So I have to speak in a language where you know that I am speaking to this section of men. And I cannot speak in a nice language because it's not a nice thing that they do. Okay? That's why my language, the time has to fit the crime. So that's why I talk the way I talk. However, I know for a fact, because of friends I've had,
Yeah.
that all men are not like
No,
that, and
no.
all men was not conditioned the way I
No,
was conditioned,
no,
and
no.
all men doesn't treat women bad.
No,
I know
they
that.
don't. No,
What I'm
no.
saying is that there's a big enough segment of men that do
They do.
that needs to stop.
They need to
It's
stop.
disgusting,
Yeah.
and our language needs to change. When it comes down to these people, our language needs to change.
Sure.
It shouldn't be. We should not be having a language that reminds you of kid gloves. We
Sure.
should not have loopholes in the
Sure.
law that let people get off. These people should pay a price, no matter what culture, what color they are. If they disrespect women, they should get their ass disrespected, man, through the law. They should
Yeah.
get their ass disrespected through whoever's going to protect themselves from being violated.
Sure.
And women
Sure.
should always, 100%, all the time, at any time of their age, have a right to defend themselves
Absolutely.
against being violated,
Absolutely.
no matter what. And there shouldn't be a question about that.
Yeah.
And when somebody's violated, we should pounce on the people who do it,
Yeah.
so that the other people know not to do it. We actually give people the right and the license to continue to do it because of the way we react and respond to it, which is totally wrong. That's the problem.
You're absolutely right.
I love
Awesome.
you.
I love you too, Benji. Awesome. Yay.
Say something before we go.
So thank you, Benji. I totally appreciate it. It was a great time, and I look forward to our next segment. Have a great one.
This is Humanity First. Benjamin Johnson, and you can catch me on humanity5858 at gmail.com, and I'll see you around, and there's more to come.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.